What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of JoesTech. This is going to be kind of a continuation of the video we did last week, which was the unboxing and review of the Corsair Lighting Node Pro. I got quite a few questions from people out there asking what the difference between the NZXT HUE Plus and the Corsair Lighting Node Pro was. So today I'm going to give you guys kind of a breakdown on the specs, and then of course the few things that I thought were different between the two that are kind of noteworthy. So hopefully this video won't be too long and it kind of will get to the point. And then of course I wanted to go through the software a little bit and kind of show you guys what the difference was and, you know, all that good stuff. For starters, we should probably take a look at the measurements of the controllers so you can kind of get an idea of how big they are. The NZXT HUE Plus, being the larger controller, comes in at 100 millimeters long by 70 millimeters wide and has a height of 23.5 millimeters. Whereas the Corsair Lighting Node Pro is much smaller, with a length of 31 millimeters, a width of 55 millimeters, and a height of only 12 millimeters. So you can see the controller is much smaller. The Lighting Node Pro is much smaller than the NZXT HUE Plus. Both of these controllers utilize USB 2.0 as a communication method between your machine and the controller. And on the Corsair Lighting Node Pro, you're going to have a mini USB connection. And of course on the NZXT HUE Plus, you're going to have a micro USB connection. Now, this isn't really critical or anything like that. I just kind of wanted to mention it in case you do not have a USB 2.0 header available on your motherboard. You do have the option to run a standard USB cable to any of the available ports on your I/O. And you know, then you of course kind of have to run that cable outside your case or find a way to do that, but it's kind of a good backup method in case, you know, you don't have any of those 2.0 headers available. Now, as far as connectivity goes, the Corsair Lighting Node Pro comes equipped with 2 channels. Each of those channels can support up to 4 LED strips, which is 10 LEDs each, 40 LEDs per channel, or up to 6 of the HD 120 fans, which are currently the only Corsair RGB LED fans that are capable with this controller. The NZXT HUE Plus also comes equipped with 2 channels. Each of its channels can support up to 4 LED strips, 40 LEDs, or 5 of the Air RGB fans, which are NZXT's equivalent RGB fan. Each of the LED strips that comes included with each of these controllers are roughly 12 inches long, but when you look at the Corsair Lighting Node Pro's LED strips, they come with this extra like pigtail of cabling, and it's kind of frustrating, especially when you're trying to hide those cables. I kind of mentioned this in the previous video. But it would have been nice if it was an option to use those extensions for like turning corners, things like that, but maybe not required. When you do purchase the NZXT HUE Plus, you do get a plethora of cables, so you're able to kind of bend around corners if you'd like, or you're able to directly connect those cables together without having a big void in the strip if that's what you wanted to do as well. Now, I also wanted to provide you guys with a quick demo of the CAM software and the Corsair Link software, which are the 2 apps that you're going to be using to control functionality of these RGB controllers. So I'm going to try to do a quick side-by-side and let you guys see what each one looks like and see what functionality Corsair has over NZXT or vice versa. And hopefully I'm able to kind of show you guys the LEDs on these strips and the fans so you can decide which one looks better. It's going to be kind of difficult because for some reason when I attempt to record these LEDs, I always get this crazy like blown out light, and so you know, forgive me for the quality of the video when we're looking at these LEDs, but let's take a quick look and kind of see what the difference is. Give you guys a quick opinion on the applications from using each of them for a couple weeks at a time. The Corsair Link application worked great, installed fine, the drivers work fine, the strips and the fans were super easy to add. However, I feel like it's lacking when I've been using the NZXT application for quite a bit longer. Obviously, the NZXT application has way more functionality for the LEDs. It's way more configurable. It has several more options. Of course, I don't have a CPU cooler or anything, so that functionality is missing for me in the Link software, which that's not the big deal. But I definitely think that Corsair has a little work to do as far as providing all the same functionality that NZXT has. Now, I will say that I did have a lot of problems initially getting the NZXT cam software to recognize my LED strips and my air fans when I first installed them, and I did have problems getting the drivers to install correctly. Once it's installed, I don't have any problems keeping the hardware online or anything like that, but I did kind of want to mention that because I was actually really surprised when I installed the Link application how easy it was to kind of get all my stuff online. It literally took like 2 minutes. It was so simple. So that's just kind of my quick opinion. I think NZXT really does have the upper hand when it comes to the RGB LED functionality and the user friendliness in the cam software, whereas Corsair definitely kind of has the driver stuff figured out, and that's probably about it. They don't have like all the flair that the cam software has yet. If you guys also saw, hopefully the quality wasn't too terrible, but when you look at the LED strips together, I feel like it's going to kind of appear that the NZXT strips are much brighter, and in person, to be honest with you, they're both really about the same. The thing is, the NZXT strips appear to be lighter, and maybe they reflect a little bit better because they're white, the backing is white, whereas the Corsair backing is black, so it doesn't kind of allow as much reflection. But the LEDs themselves are super bright, and when you have them tucked into your case, you're not going to really see too huge a difference, I don't think. Now, I want to quickly cover a couple things about the fans, and I don't really want to get too in-depth on, the specs of, the sound or the power, the amount of air the fans can move. I really just want to stick to the LED functionality. And so that being said, let's talk about the Corsair HD 120s. There is only an HD 120, there is not an HD 140, which I feel like is kind of a miss, but it's still early. They may be coming out with that later. I don't really know. But the fan itself is kind of a standard design. It has the LEDs on the outside bezel pointing towards the center of the fan, and with a clear fan blade, it allows the light to kind of show throughout the whole fan. The thing that's kind of nice here is they really stepped it up and they added 12 LEDs, and they built this fan really well. So not only does it have like that feel and that quality, but because they added so many LEDs, when you're changing effects or changing colors, it allows the light to kind of be a little more even, and it still fills the entire fan. Now, when looking at the NZXT Air RGB fans, they're more of a unique design, I guess you could say, and I feel like they're going to be kind of a hit or miss for people. Basically, it's just a standard black fan, and the LEDs are all tucked into the bezel around the fan in a ring. And what's really cool about this ring, in my opinion, is that it kind of has this matte finished white cover or clear cover, and we don't really know how many LEDs are tucked in behind that bezel, but it allows for a very smooth transition. Even if you look for the amount of LEDs, I don't think you can see how many are tucked in there, and so it kind of creates this cool ring effect around the fan without kind of bleeding out light everywhere. After doing all these comparisons, I'm still not sure which of these controllers is best. They both seem to have their pluses and minuses. Why don't you guys go ahead and let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. If for some reason there's anything I didn't get a chance to mention, or if you guys have any questions, feedback, concerns, you're always welcome to leave those in the comments section as well. And of course, if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave me that thumbs up. If you guys would like to see more videos like this in the future, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. And of course, until next time, guys, this has been JoesTech. I'll see you in the next one.